I thought, I'm going to seriously play games for the first time in 15 years.
When asked how he is spending his days after the 15-year Naruto series had come to an end, Masashi Kishimoto spoke with a wry grin.
But today's games are so good that I can't keep up with them. Call of Duty was the only game I played while still working on the series. It's a shooting game, and each round takes about 15 minutes to finish, so I'd play it during breaks. After I finished Naruto, I decided to get serious about it, but for some reason, my score keeps falling. Now I wake up in the morning, read manga, and have my coffee without thinking about anything else. Or watch a movie in the afternoon with a beer in my hand. By the way, the other day, I played catch with my kid for the first time in a long while. I think since my kid was in kindergarten.
Although words are spoken lightly, there is no hiding the enormousness of counting a weekly series of 700 episodes for 15 years.
It was simply really long. It wasn't like it seemed long, but it felt like a blink of an eye. Honestly, it was just really long.
It's been 15 years since the story was started. What kind of thoughts did Mr. Kishimoto have when he first gripped the pen and faced the manuscript? How did he create the world of ninjas with its fascinating characters? Among Naruto fans, this man is referred as Kishikage-sama, after the title Kage, meaning the head of the village in the story setting. Here comes the first part of a long interview with Mr. Kishimoto, the man who created Naruto. Let's have a peek inside his head. Please note that there might be spoilers regarding the ending of the original story. The story follows the growth of the main character, Naruto, through his conflicts and reconciliation. But at the same time, the author skillfully integrates various settings such as folktales, mythology, religious quotes, and homages into this multi-layered world of ninja, including its origin and history. It takes an extraordinary effort to continue a title as a weekly serialization while dealing with this enormous amount of information.
Since it is a weekly series, you need to start drawing even if you don't have time to think about the next story. As the story continues, there are times when you have to end the story early or reveal an important plot in a particular episode. But the thing is, the ideas don't pop up unless I start drawing them. Even when I am lack of ideas, the deadline always comes every week. Therefore, before I get to the episode I want to draw, sometimes I need to draw a so-called throwaway episode, which might not be the best word to call it. There exist interlude episodes as well, and I have to persist this way of storytelling until I reach the interesting part. Obviously, while inserting the interlude and throwaway episodes, I have to maintain the quality of my work, or the series will be cancelled. I also need time to refer to reference materials and have the information input into my head. When I have an interesting idea, in order to make it as interesting as possible, I have to foreshadow and put hints inside the story until the plot is revealed. People often ask me, why didn't you show this interesting episode earlier? Well, it takes time to get there. Weekly release is really tough. Now that I can step back and read others' works objectively, and I feel everybody has been doing so well.
As Naruto travels around the ninja world, various stories, relations, and secrets of this world are revealed. Such puzzle solving can be one of the major appeals of Naruto. The uniqueness of the main and supporting characters who appear in over 700 chapters, each with his own feelings and conflicts, immediately grabs the reader's hearts. How did Mr. Kishimoto create these characters?
Till now, I still don't know much about my own characters. They were just created somehow. I mean, first, the visual image of the characters appears inside my head, and then, when I give them dialogues, they just start speaking by themselves. Especially by communicating with other characters, the characters seem to start moving. There's a saying that, once the characters start going into action, the story moves forward itself. And I believe every writer who created a story would have such kind of feeling. When characters are developed well enough, they simply don't listen to me at all. They don't move as we wish, and if we force them to move according to our will, it will look unnatural and fake. As the story progresses and the characters become more developed, their relationships become more complicated, and their actions become even more difficult to be interfered. I think one of the reasons why the series has gotten that long is because of this.
A huge number of characters are being introduced into the story with a small background setting. Many of the characters that appeared in the early stages of the series continue to play an important role even after the story progressed to the second half, with new and old characters intertwining with each other. There are a few works where readers' popularity polls are as interesting as in Naruto. What does the popularity poll mean to Mr. Kishimoto as a creator of the series?
To me, Naruto, as a character, has a special meaning. There are many parts where I project myself onto him and I put my feelings into drawing him. That's why I was a little annoyed after seeing the poll results, why Kakashi always gets all the votes. Moreover, no matter how hard I draw about Sakura, Hinata is the one who gets the votes. Why? While Naruto being exceptional, I cherish all other characters, but the poll results just make me confused. For example, Neji is steadily in the front while Choji can never get a high ranking.
As the story progresses, it may be necessary to portray the death of certain characters. On the other hand, in the Naruto world, those who died can be resurrected by using the forbidden move, Edo Tensei. Let's take a look at the scene!
時は来た。口寄せ、江戸天聖。まずは元暁のメンバー、イタチ、サソリ、デイダラ、角図、そして長門。続いて元五影前任者たち、二代目土影、三代目雷影、四代目風、爆遁のガリ、鬼人ザブザ、氷遁の白、三小魚の半蔵、砂の千代バー、その他もろもろ名のあった手だれたち。
Since it's a battle manga, I decided to draw it without running away from the idea of death. If a character is meant to die, I'd do it naturally. Sometimes I even received letters from readers saying, what if Kakashi were killed? However, after the Pain's Assault arc, one of the most significant changes in the story was that Naruto began to see his enemies as human just like him and started looking for a different way to resolve things than just beating the enemies to death. Naruto, who believes that people can understand each other, can no longer simply kill his enemies. On the other hand, the move Edo Tensei, which brings the dead back to life like zombies, makes a contrast. To me, characters that are resurrected with Edo Tensei are still considered as dead.
As dying characters send their hope and feelings to the living, the weight of death of each character becomes significant. For example, in the final stage of the Fourth Shinobi World War, one of the popular characters, Neji, met his death, but that was portrayed surprisingly simple. On the other hand, Naruto and the other characters that remained alive keep their feelings towards Neji inside their hearts and continue the fight. Let's check the scene together! Here we go!
数が多すぎる。日向とネジの空想では。
どこだ？重傷なんだ！早く来てくれ！
ナルト、日向様はお前のためなら死ぬ。だからお前の命は一つじゃない。どうやら俺の命もその一つに入ってたようだ。父様、やっと分かったよ。仲間を守るために死を選んだ父様の自由の気持ちが。俺の仲間は絶対殺させやしねえ。
Death really comes all of a sudden. So far, the scene of Jiraya's death was presented in a way which stirred up people's emotion, but I intended not to do the same to Neji. Death is unexpected, and there is no place for sentiment on a battlefield. One must be prepared that someone might die at any time, and if it is portrayed too sensationally, it will look fake. Nonetheless, Naruto and his every fellow received Neji's thoughts or something important. By visualizing Neji's thoughts as a bird and resembling the tails of Ten Tails as a cage, the scene that the bird flew out of the cage is what I would like to portray, and I'm glad I was able to do it.